Impact with Youth, a series by Yuva at UNICEF where we bring together global thought leaders and young change makers on one platform to exchange innovative ideas about the future. So today I have with me Alex and Lakshay. Alex is the global CSR head of SAP. SAP is a partner of UNICEF and Generation Unlimited and what we call in India Yuva. SAB has been a champion in enabling young people and helping them meet new opportunities. And please welcome Lakshay. Lakshay has more than 5 years experience in climate entrepreneurship and he has a very strong background of environmental justice and intersectional climate issues. Welcome Lakshay. What excites you the most about this public-private youth partnership, and how do you think we can unlock the best potential of these multi-stakeholder partnerships?
Well, first of all, it's wonderful to be here, and I feel very honored to be able to spend the time with you. I think what excites me is already in the name because it says public-private youth partnership, and nobody else has that, right? Usually you hear public-private partnership, PPP, but nobody has added the youth piece to it, with the exception of Generation Unlimited and UNICEF. So I think that already shows how this whole initiative puts people, or not just people, but actually young people at the center of everything that Generation Unlimited does. Look, in my work over the last 13 years, I've been exposed to so much potential and impact, but very honestly, in the beginning, we were driving bilateral partnerships as well, right? We would partner with a nonprofit organization. We would obviously maximize how we can work together and the impact that we can generate. But the deeper you start diving into this kind of work, the more you understand how complex it is and how not one of us can solve it by ourselves. So then you immediately start thinking about ecosystems and coalitions and partnerships. It's very easy to say, oh, we need to do a coalition, we need to form a partnership, but it's very hard to do in reality because it requires shared values, common goals. You need to leave your ego at the door. You can't sort of come in with your own agenda. Yeah. But here, most importantly, when you look at societal problems that we have, they exist today, but we all know that they're actually going to, if we don't do something about it today, they're going to get worse. Who's going to be affected by it? Young people. But it's typically elderly people who take the decisions on it. But it's your future that we're talking about. So you should be there. You should be at the decision-making table of everything that is being discussed in terms of processes and programs and outcomes and impact. And you shouldn't just be there as a voice, you should be there as the one who are saying, this is how we want it to be, because you will have to live with it. But this is what excites me about the partnership. I was very impressed to hear that you set up the first climate justice library. And it would be wonderful if you could share a little bit more about that.
I would like to take this opportunity to also tell why we started Climate Justice Library, in a sense, because I believe as young person, we have a huge amount of energy, passion. We have certain skills. We bring fresh perspectives to that. But what lacks is sometimes the right kind of knowledge resource, which we don't get access to in the capacity of a general public, because most of these resources are placed inside institutional libraries or resource banks. So relating to that need, a lot of youth came together to form a team and start Climate Justice Library, which acts as a resource hub. Currently it has around 1800 plus resources on various intersections of climate change. I would like Mahiya to also tell us her journey about it.
On personal capacity, as a student or as somebody who wants to do something on a community level, generally we start with cleanup drives. We have plantation drives. We go to schools, we tell people that don't buy single use plastic, or carry a water bottle, use menstrual cup, and all these small campaigns. Then I have also done some campaigns with youth led organizations like Youth for Climate India and other organizations. uh, and then I finally decided that because climate change is a huge term, and it has air, water, soil, and many other aspects. So my concern was waste management. And that's how I started my Zero Waste Project India. We have two sections. First section is where we host boot camps. So we invite people, they come and they live with us in nature's lab, and we are meditating and we are doing all mindful activities together. They try all zero waste options that are available, and all the stuff, it is all nature based solutions. All these nature based solutions are introduced, yet people are not compromising on their hygiene. They don't have this issue that the clothes will not be clean. If we are telling them to use, for example, tooth tabs, because toothpaste tubes are not recyclable, so we opt for powder or tooth tabs. So all these are nature based, and yet people enjoy it. So that's our first section. And the second section is that, for example, there's an institute, or there's an event happening. So for example, any event is happening, so we are going to manage all the waste. Okay, we are going to tell you that if you are going to put up stalls, you can contact so and so person for all the reusables. So as somebody who has been in this climate space for more than 5 years, and you have this very innovative solution to bring climate literacy, that is Climate Justice Library. I'm very curious to know, what do you think about climate sustainability and how it relates to social justice?
I think we all exist in different social exclusions at any given point of time. So that gives us, that makes our identity overall, and that gives us some sort of privileges, opportunities, how we want to behave, what like society expects us, how we want to be, how we should behave actually. So in that capacity, I think when we are working on climate change interventions, we need to think about that intersectionality and create the interventions according to that. If we recognize and confront our privileges, I think we would be much more better human beings and would have much more better lives overall. For example, one thing that has been missing in climate change, climate justice discourse around the globe has been the impact of climate change on incarcerated individuals. So that has been completely missing. How we can identify first the intersections at which climate change is impacting the incarcerated individuals. So we are trying to develop a sort of climate adaptive prison in India, and want to aid the government in this process. So this is one aspect, I think, of uh, climate intersectionality we need to focus on. I also like to know how SAP has been a long-standing champion around the globe on social entrepreneurship among youth, actually. So, how has your perspective changed over time on this, and your methodologies have evolved? I
Yeah.
think.
We have been working in the social entrepreneurship space for 13 years. And it's actually very interesting because my personal journey in CSR and social entrepreneurship is completely tied with SAP's journey in social entrepreneurship. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not. Probably not. The first time we started working in this area was after the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, which was devastating. And our then CEO met Professor Muhammad Yunus, who you know, and they started talking about, you know, what can be done and should be done to support Haiti. And of course, everybody thinks about immediate relief in a situation like this. But you know Professor Yunus, you know, his mind is always going further than that. So he was thinking about, okay, how do you need to redevelop the economy? So we decided jointly to set up an infrastructure for social business in Haiti. And that was the first project that we did. And that was also my first exposure because I was a volunteer in that project. So I put up my hand and I said, I want to work in this field. And I got so excited about the potential of social entrepreneurship to create change and the innovation that sits behind social entrepreneurship that I said to myself, I want to keep working in this space. So I lobbied to move into the CSR function so that I could continue working on this topic. You know, in the first years, the whole topic was mainly driven by people like me who started to understand the power of social innovation and the power of social entrepreneurship. But the business, it didn't really click all that much. They didn't really understand sort of the value that sits behind that. That has completely changed. So from, you know, 2-3 people being passionate about it, we have now integrated the topic of social entrepreneurship completely into our business strategy. So we have board sponsorship, they're behind it. We are working very closely with the business. We're working together with product development. We bring hundreds of SAP employees to support social entrepreneurs. We help bring social enterprises into global supply chains. So it's become a massive strategy for us. And just recently, there was a study that was published, just so that you know that you're not alone in this, right? That study showed that there's a minimum of 11 million social enterprises worldwide.
That's huge.
11 million. But here's a bigger figure. The revenue that these social enterprises generate is $2 trillion annually. That is larger than the apparel industry. It's larger than the advertising industry. So anybody who says to you, oh, you know what, social enterprises are just sort of like, they're at the fringes of an economy. So no. This is a very, very important sector. Social enterprises employ over 200 million people. And you will like this one. 1 in 2 social enterprises are owned by women.
Thank you so much. Very nice.
So it is a sector that you need to take seriously, right? And every corporate player, every private sector player, if they think about innovation in environmental and social terms, and they have to, right? Because they have to show that they're more than financial performance, they should be working with social enterprises because they're the role model of what it means to drive a balance between financial performance and social and environmental impact. So that's sort of a bit the journey. And I'm very proud of what we've achieved, but at the same time, I still think that we're only, we're scratching the surface only. We're only at the tip of the iceberg, really. Just 1 or 2 sentences on young people, because I think when you think about young people in terms of social innovation and social entrepreneurship, there's a few challenges that you face is typically, I mean, social entrepreneurs suffer from lack of access to funding anyway, right? But I think in the case of a young social entrepreneur, it's even worse. Because what people typically invest in is they invest in a business and in a venture. And they want to see experience, right? They want to see that somebody brings all this richness of experience with them. And you don't always have that. Of course, you have a lot of experience, but it's not the kind of experience that they look for. Right, so it's that sort of that access to funding, which is important. The other thing that I think is incredibly important is access to additional non-financial support, be it mentors, coaches, just so that you have people that you can bounce ideas off of, and that can support you in maybe moving an idea into more of a business model. And I think those are the kind of things that are probably a bit different for young social entrepreneurs and that need sort of specific attention. I mean, Mahiya, you're a social entrepreneur as well. Can you share a little bit what the challenges are that you are facing on a daily basis and how we can also, as a community, how we can support you better in the work that you do?
the most disheartening to me is that when my team comes to me and say that how long are we going to sustain, I do not have a solid answer to that. I am facing the most burden, I will say. But then, yes, I do not have an answer. I don't know how long will I be able to give my 500, 600%, which I'm giving right now. So it's very, very difficult. You know, we just have 5 years and 2 months for now, from now to, I will say, reverse the climate crisis that we are facing. You know, this year's World Environment theme is Journey Towards a Greener Future. What do you think, you know, from a skilling perspective, how do you see a greener future?
Look, I think I mentioned one thing already, and that is I truly believe that a greener future can only be achieved if you put the individual at the center. You need to put people and community at the center of a greener future. And the other thing is that you need to empower individuals and communities to take action and to drive change, right? And the third piece about this is that I strongly believe that young people need to be the driver of the change. And you are, right? I mean, with the work that you're doing already, I'm especially always impressed when I see young entrepreneurs like yourselves who are driving solutions, who are driving innovation to create the change. So it's not just about creating awareness and understanding, but it's actually developing solutions that will create change. And I think that is what is going to be essential. We need significantly more investment and enablement of innovation in the space of creating a greener future. And that automatically also means that we need to find ways of ensuring that people like you are better enabled, right? That you do have better access to funding. And we don't just bring you to the table because you're young, but we bring you to the table because you're experts. And we pay you because you're experts, right? What I see very often is that, you know, young people are invited to spaces, you're invited to moderate, you're invited to speak. But how often are you paid to do that? But you're bringing value to it, right? There's time and effort and expertise that sits behind it. So we have started doing that at SAP. When we bring a young person in to speak at a conference or at a panel or round table, we pay them.
Thank you.
And we don't just pay them the travel expenses, we pay them for their time and their expertise. So I think if we get more people to do that, then you don't have to worry so much about the existential, right?
Yeah.
You know that your basics are covered and that you can put your entire effort into driving your organizations. And I think the last thing is, and this is actually something that I really appreciate about what UA and Generation Unlimited are doing, I think building community around climate change and circularity is incredibly important, and especially creating community around young people. And then you probably get pressure from your families because they say, well, get a real job.
Get married. Everybody will get married.
But if you have a community around you of like-minded people, you can bounce things off of them, but you also don't feel alone. You know that you're not in it alone. There's so many others who are just as passionate and just as committed. So I think those aspects are incredibly important. And I think more than anything else, that is going to what leads to a greener future.
Let's some ask fun questions, I think.
I hope they are fun questions.
So Alex, what is the one song that keeps you going, that gives you like some hope?
I think the one that probably comes to my mind, especially also in this context, is a song called I Can See Clearly Now. It's originally by Jimmy Cliff. It's a reggae song. But I love the version that an Irish band put out, who are called the Hot House Flowers. And the song is all about, you know, how storm clouds and rain clouds are disappearing and the sun is coming out and you suddenly start seeing everything more clearly. The obstacles that are in your way, you see them clearly, you know how to overcome them. And I think that's very fitting for this conversation. And it's a very upbeat song as well.
Nice. I think I have listened to it.
Have you heard it?
Yeah, I think. I have a list of songs which gives hope, and it's now around 20 hours of songs in that.
Oh,
So,
wow, that's
uh,
amazing.
I think I have never listened to each and every song in one go.
Well, there's the power of music, right?
Yeah, right. So Mahiya, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Who is your favorite superhuman and why?
Okay.
Don't say Superman, okay?
No, I'm not. I think superhuman, if I talk about in my life, and Lakshay, we have a lot in common. As when I started my journey as an activist or as somebody who is going to speak up for a change in the society, the one thing that I noticed was a lot of children were single mothers, children. Yeah. So I, Lakshay, and Vijay, and a lot of people whom I know, we are the
Mutual friends.
we all are yeah, and we are the flag bearers raised by single mothers. So the superhuman is my mother and all the single mothers out there. If you could do a magic, okay, if you had some power, what would you like to change?
I think in context of India, and I would want to sparkle some participatory dust in the policy making process of India, so people can be included in the participation of development of a policy really from the ground up based on their needs, their vulnerabilities. They can share that, and it is actually that matters to the in the policy that comes up, that is given the spotlight they deserve, their voices. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Mahiya. This has been an incredible discussion. Thank you for being part of this episode. Wishing every one of you a happy World Environment Day.
So it's our time
Our turn.
and our future.